I think it's safe to say that based on the amount of Huracan content there is on YouTube, we know what it looks like from the outside, we know what it looks like from the inside, we definitely know what it sounds like, and based on the amount of YouTubers, including myself, that have owned a Huracan, we kind of know what it's like to live with. So when Lamborghini said, do you want to drive the Huracan Evo rear-wheel drive for a week, I was never going to say no, but I did struggle to work out what I was going to film, what I was going to create whilst I had this car. And then it hit me. I recalled almost every conversation that I've had with supercar specialists, dealerships, Lamborghini dealerships that have all said the Huracan is the most in-demand car of the last 18 months. VVS, for example, have a list of over 15 customers just waiting for an LP610-4. And this is the Huracan Evo rear-wheel drive. It's Lamborghini's entry-level supercar. So I feel like with the help of Magnitude Finance and Magnitude Finance Calculator, that we can demystify the entry levels into Lamborghinis with Huracan Finance. Then we're going to go up to EAG. I'm going to get a live quote of what they would pay for this car or what they'd retail this car at so that we can then get finance quotes. This is the first time I've ever done that. Gone to a dealership and asked to price a press car. But hopefully by the end of this video, we'll work out what is the best value for money Huracan that you can buy and where to put your money if you're looking at buying a Lamborghini Huracan. Don't get me wrong, it feels good to be back with this V10. I don't know what it is, but driving this, it feels way more responsive, it feels so much faster, and it feels so much livelier than my LP580-2. And there would have been the little niggles and ergonomical things that Lamborghini would have done to improve the outgoing rear-wheel drive Huracan Evo. This is still fundamentally the entry point into a Lamborghini supercar. For a two-seater mid-engine V10, 164 grand with options. This is £199,000 because everything with this car is an optional extra. If you want ceramics, if you want nose lift, if you want the big wheels, if you want red brake calipers, if you want a stripe down the middle, it all becomes quite astronomically expensive. And I think the optional extras on this car are around £35,000, but it keeps you on your toes and it makes you feel alive. Oh. Woo. Okay, the Evo fundamentally has the same engine as the Performante. It has the same central exhaust exit points to enhance the aerodynamics across the bottom of the car, so you have a full rear diffuser rather than having to implement the exhaust. So that's why the exhaust systems are raised up for aero, and it just sounds insane. And the gearbox and the V10 combination, when you combine those two, I've not been in a Huracan for quite a while, and when I got in the Aventador S, I had the V12 with the single clutch, and I was like, oh, this is just a package that puts a smile on my face. There's no way a Huracan can do the same, but it can. And I I think driving them so close together, the Aventador and the Huracan Evo, it made me realise just why these are so popular and why so many people are buying these and not Aventadors. If you go onto Auto Trader, if you go onto Piston Heads, or speak to anyone in a Lamborghini dealership, they will tell you that Huracans are flying out the door and Aventadors are sitting there. Might be something to do with the fact that Aventadors are slowly creeping out of warranty, and there's going to be some big bills coming with those V12 thrills. That made me cringe. Oh, I think it's fair to say that I've been enjoying the roads round here, Richard. Welcome back to the channel.
How you doing?
What do you think? I mean, firstly,
dirty.
It is dirty.
That's cool.
Rear wheel drive. You had a perf here one of the last times that I came up here, which was properly cool. You had a go in that?
Yeah, of course.
Well, you'll know these very well then.
Yeah. No, they're great cars. Yeah, good fun.
Now, I've come up here because obviously you specialise in BMWs, but you have the odd supercar in every now and again. You had the GT3 with IPE exhaust, which sounded monstrous. I really wanted to go in that, but you sold it.
Yeah, too slow.
I've bought this because I want to know what you think the retail value on something like this would be, so that we can start ringing in some used Evo rear-wheel drive quotes. Because this being the entry-level Lamborghini, starts at 164, but when you start adding optional extras, gets a little bit expensive.
Yeah.
For example, the paint, 11 grand.
Crazy, yeah.
I think the stripe, based on the spec sheet, it just says exterior ad personam optional extra. The stripe is painted, but the price next to the ad personam exterior optional extra is 18 grand. So,
What a stripe.
I feel like I'm reading the spec sheet wrong, but the wheels are around 4 grand, I think.
Yeah.
The gloss black exterior pack, also a lot of money. Glass engine base, 5 or 6 grand, I think. So this spec is 199. It's done about 1,800 miles.
Yeah.
What do you reckon that will retail at?
I'm guessing like 185 area, around that.
185, yeah.
Yeah.
So rear wheel drive, entry level, it's used. Immediately you can write off the VAT.
Yeah.
I mean, a new car is basically you drive it off the forecourt.
Part of the fun, yeah.
185, strong spec. I wish it was a vinyl. I wish the stripe was vinyl because I'd probably take the stripe off. Yeah. It's a little bit punchy to go and paint it in.
Yeah, actually what it costs. Yeah. It's got a really nice rare M2 comp in the showroom. Come, have a look at it.
Oh wait, is this the one that I saw on Instagram?
Yeah.
Manual, big M4 brakes.
Yeah, they're just not available. Like it's such a rare spec. So it's got the big brake kit. It's got carbon bonnet, carbon boot lid.
Carbon bonnet?
Yeah, so it's all carbon. It's
It's
the M Performance, so it's different.
Yeah, because my one had like the GTS style groove.
In
the middle of. This looked properly.
Yeah, this is like completely sorted. It's on KW coilovers. They're like big money, and it's manual, which is in itself is really rare. It's got both packs on it as well. Just a really rare car. Even the boot lid.
Oh wow!
Proper carbon fibre M Performance BMW. So this car has had excess of probably 15 grand spent on it, and it's on a stage 1 tune as well.
I was going to swear.
So it's 500 horsepower, and it feels quick in one of these.
500 brake
in one of these,
through manual rear wheel drive.
Manual rear wheel drive. It actually gets the power down well.
Does it?
It does, but it's not as quick as a DTC, obviously. But it's loads more fun.
I was going to say, I remember when I sold my M2 comp to you, it was the one regret that I said. I was like, I should have got a manual because these are a hoonmobile. They're not a daily driver. They're stiff.
They are, and they're so well balanced as well. So I mean, this is like a track day. This would be great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I actually think this is really cool, by the way.
Yeah.
Because this is painted over the car.
A lot of people leave this bit here exterior. I mean, you can see the guy. He's obviously left it exterior under here.
Oh, yeah.
So you can mess about with what you want showing, but he's just painting the whole thing. But I think it looks. Really
I think
cool.
Everything looks really smart because I saw it on your Instagram and immediately picked up on the big brakes because they're rare. And 3 pedals, also very rare.
Yeah.
But actually getting up close with this, that bonnet is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit annoyed that I missed out on that on my car. I was happy with how
Yeah.
my bonnet looked, but that
Yeah.
is just looking properly
Yeah.
cool.
I think all the little things together just make this like a really special car.
Yeah. How much is this going up for?
Do you know what? I don't even know if we priced it yet. It's going to be
55 grand.
Yeah, 47, 48 grand.
I was gonna
It's
say,
something like
yeah.
that. It's going live today, actually. So it'll be
Okay,
on there today.
nice. Well, as this video goes live, it's probably already sold.
Out of all the cars, they don't hang around long, but this won't last a week.
Yeah.
100%.
Anyway, it's cool to feature. If anyone is up for an M2 comp that wants all of the mods already done, it's almost a ready to go track toy, this is the car to have. It might already be sold. If it hasn't, go over to the EAG website. If it has, I suppose keep your eyes out on the EAG website for when it comes back in.
Yeah, that's it.
You'll probably be waiting a while, but that is probably the best example I've seen of an M2 comp.
Yeah, best one we've had. 100%, yeah.
Mega. I don't know whether you've been able to tell, but in this video, the wind has been so bad, I've not been able to film from the outside of the car. The flybys were incredibly difficult. I didn't want the camera to tip over again and break my screen again. So we cocoon ourselves in the interior for the finale of the video to find out just how much these cars cost on finance and whether it is still worth going and buying a £130,000 LP610 or whether you should just go and pile into an Evo rear-wheel drive entry level. It's very good. Just don't order these seats if you've got a back like mine. I actually preferred the Aventador. I did 900-ish miles in the Aventador in a week. I've done 200 in this because I kind of find these unbearable. But anyway, the Magnitude Finance Calculator and Tim Marlowe has sorted me out with taking main dealer Lamborghini adverts off Auto Trader and giving me finance quotes. And we have an LP610 at £130,000. We have this car at £185,000, and then we have brand new Huracan Evos at £200,000 plus. Now, every finance deal that I've gone and got, 10% down, 4-year agreement, 6,000 miles a year, so that it can then calculate the end residual value at the end of the term, which is what you owe, can refinance, give the car back, sell the car and take the profits or the equity. In this case, the monthly payments are quite a lot more expensive, meaning that hopefully at the end of the term, for example, £130,000 Huracan LP610-4, after 4 years, they're saying that the car's going to be worth 71 grand. It's not. It's going to be around 100 grand, there or thereabouts. So you'll be able to get 30 grand back when you sell the car and settle the finance at 71 grand, if that makes sense. But anyway, 130 grand, entry level, kind of low end of the market, cheap LP610, even though it's at a main dealer, is 1,300 quid a month. And that's with a £13,000 deposit. Kind of OCD levels are hitting a sweet spot at the moment. 13 grand in, 1,300 quid a month. Then we jump to this car at £185,000. So that's an 18.5 grand deposit. That's coming back at £2,200 a month. So it's basically £1,000 jump to get into an Evo, just straight. But then we get into a new version of one of these cars at around £200,000. You're going to be looking at 20 grand in, obviously 10%, and it's the same monthly payment as buying a used car. This is the same thing that I felt and experienced. This is the same thing that I experienced when I went and bought my LP580-2. The reason I bought new was because it was cheaper or as cheap per month than it was to buy a used Huracan LP580-2. So it's the same case here. You might as well just go and buy a brand new one, because then a Huracan Evo 4-wheel drive is £2,400 in with around a 25 grand deposit because it's a little bit more expensive. But then we get to the Performante. I thought I'd throw the curveball in. We want to know how much the Performante is per month. I found a car that is £170,000, done 4,000 miles. It's a 2018 car. It's black. It's perfect. It's 17 grand in, 1,900 quid a month. So £300 cheaper than an Evo rear wheel drive and about £600 more expensive than an LP610-4. I still think the LP610-4 and LP580-2 very good value for money in comparison to these. Don't know whether you can see just how steamed up the interior of this car is, but it is very steamed up. I can't actually see out of the windscreen. But there we go. Thank you to Tim Marlowe, thank you to Magnitude Finance, and thank you to the Finance Calculator for giving me all of these finance quotes. It's really interesting to see the difference between all of the variants of the Huracan, and fundamentally I'll be more than happy to go out and buy an LP610-4 or an LP580-2. These are great, but just too expensive. And I think when the Evo 4-wheel drive came out, no matter how good that car is, no matter how good that technology is, it's still a little bit too expensive, especially when you can start creeping into Lamborghini Aventador S's for the same sort of money. And at that point, you go and buy the V12. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. A little bit of a discovery around the Huracan Evo rear-wheel drive, going up to the beautiful roads of Cambridge, seeing EAG, and then the Magnitude Finance quote. So if you're looking at Huracans, or you're aspiring to get a Huracan in the next year, 18 months, whenever it is, keep your eye on the market. I think the prices will come down in about a year's time, maybe this winter coming. But at the moment, the prices are crazy because you can't get new cars, so the used cars are going up. But I will leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for hopefully enjoying as well. That was where I was going with that sentence. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Goodbye.